were not there that day. But one big question that was on the floor was about your personal vision and where you see yourself in 5 years to come. And we were speaking about a holistic look at yourself. You look at yourself holistically. Mu Luganda tugamba nti wena wena. Holistically. We looked about ministry, which is the spiritual part of you. And we looked about business, job, and we also looked about family. Yeah, because many of us here are young men and women. Some are married, some are not. In fact, wano tuliwo abafumbo nga banafeka bataano mutukubireko mu ngalo. Yeah. It is me, Pastor Becky, Pastor Florence, Pastor Sam, and Pastor Joanna. Yeah. The others, the others are not. Yeah. My wife will tell you he's married, and I will also tell you I'm married. Mama Florence, aren't you married? Yeah. Joanna, aren't you married? Yeah, yes. Tell them. Tell your papa, because. So that is what we're looking about, all about. But today, I want to show you something. I want to show you something very pivotal, very important. On that day, I was speaking about somebody working for himself vis-a-vis working for someone. And we want to look at the Bible. Of course, I may not be able to read, but I'll show you some people in the Bible that will help you to understand what I'm talking about. One of my mentors that I follow keenly is called Apostle Moses Mukisa. He wrote a book that is called Straightforward Financial Growth. But in this book, he talks about the film called Ben-Hur. I know many of you have ever watched, or you have never watched it. How many of you have ever watched that film, Ben-Hur? How many of you have ever watched it, Ben-Hur? Now, I send you to go and watch it because Atmos speaks about it. But he was talking about something that many people don't know. He was showing us that every person that employs you does not employ you that you may grow financially. He employs you that he, the employer, may grow financially. And Atmos was speaking in that book that every person gives you money or pays you for your maintenance to be able to work. And when you look at that book, you'll find about pages where he gave an example. He gave an example of a young man who has started working and is earning about 1 million shillings, which I think many of you here do not earn it, even when you're working. Is earning about 1 million shillings. And he started putting out the calculations, considering that you are a grown-up Christian. You are mature spiritually. You know that every money that you get, you have to tithe. And he started calculating moves there. By the end of the day, you will find out that this money, 1M, you don't have anything to save. And yet, as a young man or a young woman, you need to save. if you are going to grow financially. Many of us have got some accounts in the banks, but we don't know what we call savings accounts or fixed savings accounts. And I gave people the same thing that I want to talk about today, about how somebody can develop him or herself. In this book, Amos says that hate the job the day you get it. Olunaku lwofuna omulimu lwo lunaku lwoba ogukyawa. And many people are asking questions, how? I've been looking for a job, and again I hate it the day I get it. What Amos was trying to mean was that when you are being employed, give yourself an ultimatum. You can say, I'll be employed for 10 years, or I'll be employed for 5 years. But in these 5 years, I'm looking for my capital to start up this. And on that point, I was asking people, what is that thing that you want to do as you? Yeah. Okuleka omulimu gwe bakukozesa, leaving alone that which you are employed of. What is that thing that you have in your mind as a personal business? Yeah, many people told us about that business, but you would see that they lacked the vision onto it. Because if somebody just tells you, I want to start a salon. Okay, a salon. So what are you looking for? Because if you want to start up a salon, then it means you're looking for capital. But a good person who is eyeing onto that should have a better research of the salon, where you want to put it, and what is needed for you to put it up. So that as you are being employed, you have it in your mind that if I'm earning 1M, I can save 30% of that money, which is 300. And you will have your calculation, which is like, maybe let me say for 5 years, you are being employed. And you calculate, if I'm getting 300 per month for my saving, in a year, how much money is that? 300 times 12. What is that? It is 3.6. Is it? 3.2. Huh? 3.6. And now you say 3.6 plus maybe, because if you are saving on a fixed savings account, different banks have got different interest rates, isn't it? Some are giving 10%, some are giving 9%, some are giving 11%, some are giving even 13%. So you will say that plus that interest rate for 5 years. Yeah, somebody first give me 3.6 times 5. What is that? 18. Then plus the interest rate of how much? If it is, let's assume it is 10% of that money. 10% of that money is what? 1.8. That is annual, isn't it? So 1.8 times 5. You understand that you'll be having some reasonable amount of money that can start you a business. So the first thing, the Bible says that you write up your what? Your vision on a tablet. Yeah. Write down your vision. If you have a vision and you know you want to get rich, you want to become wealthy, you need to have a vision. If you have no vision of what you want to become, you will never become. Yeah, no one aims at nothing and becomes something. Your vision is your aim. And more so when you're a servant of God, you don't need to be employed. Yeah. Because you know the principle of the Bible. The Bible is very clear, and Jesus himself is the one that spoke this. He says no one can serve two masters at what? At a go. Now it is hard for you to be serving Christ Jesus and also serving another fellow man as your master. Therefore, a servant of God should always aim at employing himself or herself. That is what is vital. I came to realize that many of the servants of God at Worship Harvest are self-employed, and they have more than one business. That is something I'll talk about next time. But today I want to show you, the Bible shows that God blesses the works of our hands. And that is one thing that has been disturbing me all over. God blesses the works of our what? Of our hands. Now, ask your neighbor, what are your hands doing? That's the first thing. What are your hands doing that God has to bless? Because that is the beginning of it all. Then the second part that I want to talk about most is, what are you doing and who are you doing it for? Is it your personal, or you are an employee, a servant? Because that is what Apmo is trying to show us. In the film that he puts in that book called Ben-Hur, the boss was telling the people that were pushing that ship, you know, the ships that were used in those early times. People would be down there nga bakuba enkasi nga be basindika ekiri waggulu kyonna, naye nga abali wansi amaanyi ge bakozesa we bakutuka. So in this film, the boss tells one of the workers down there, he tells them to push the boat or else they die. And he was showing them that is the reason as to why they're on that boat and as to why they are still alive. So many of us, that is the only problem. We are working for a living. You cannot afford to work for a living. You need to work that you become wealthy. Yeah. You need to work that you become wealthy. And you will never become wealthy when you're employed. Let no one deceive you. It can never happen. Now, the other day I was trying to give you scriptures, and I wanted to show you something. That in the Bible, there are people we see who were not working for themselves, they were employees for others. And when God was blessing the works of their hands, it was their masters gaining. God will always bless the works of your hands. But who is gaining in it? That is where my question is. When you read about Jacob in Genesis, you realize that when Jacob goes to his uncle Laban, everything at Laban's place changes. But Jacob was not earning, yet Laban was becoming more wealthier. But even Laban himself knew that the blessing he was walking into was not his blessing, it was Jacob's blessing. And this gives the reason as to why you see misunderstanding between Jacob and Laban later. Because time came and Jacob was demanding for wages, and Laban brought out something telling him, let's separate. When these animals give birth to what? To plain color animals, they'll be mine. And when they give birth to those that are spotted, they'll be yours. Now, in Jacob's understanding, he knew wealth has come because he knew God has been blessing his sons. And the Bible says that whenever these animals went to drink water, Jacob did something. And when they got pregnant from there, they started giving birth to spotted animals. And before the time went, it was very clear that in that herd, Jacob had more animals than the boss. That explains why I tell you that the Lord was not blessing Laban. He was blessing Jacob. The only problem was that Jacob was not working for himself. He was working for somebody. The time he started working for himself, it was visible. There is another person called Joseph in the Bible still. He goes to Potiphar's place and see what happens there. Potiphar speaks it. He says, since Joseph entered his house, everything changed. Actually, he saw a blessing in everything in his family. And he would automatically tell that this blessing is not for him. Yeah, it wasn't for him. God was blessing the hands of Joseph. But in return, because Joseph was not working for himself, it was the big man getting the wealth. So why did I bring out this scripture and understanding? I'm telling you, many of us are here. We are serving God, and we even don't know that God is blessing us. But some of you, if your bosses were to be clear, they will tell you the reason as to why they love you at their place of work. The other day I was with Ben here, he's not here today, and he was saying several times his boss has chased him away, and then him himself calls him back. But one day the friend told him that his boss is always telling them that when Ben is not in the car, there is no money. When he's in the car, there is money. So how do we benefit in this? Number one, we need to have a vision. As a young man, as a young woman, you need to know what you want to become in the future. You need even to give yourself a time frame. You are like, in 5 years, this is what I want to see. In 10 years, this is where I want to be. Yeah, it might be not that you will be there, but because you have a target, you will strive to get to that target. That is what I'm looking at. Because you have a target, you will focus yourself onto acquiring that. Two, the reason as to why I desire that we should all employ ourselves is because we are serving God. I can tell you that I work, but because I'm self-employed, I know my time of work and I know the time that I give God. I don't work under pressure. No. I have days that I know that on this day and this day there is nothing much to do at church, and I will go for those days. Now there is no way you will tell me that I work on Friday. What if I work up to evening and I have the prayer out, the fervent prayer? There is no way I'll tell you that I will go to work on Sunday. Why? Don't I know that Sunday is the Lord's day? That's what the Bible says in Revelation. The only problem is we are being used, and therefore it is the master who knows when you should be there or when you shouldn't. And I can tell you, many of you have got problems with your masters because you are serving two masters at a go. There are people that are not here today simply because they are supposed to be with their bosses, even when it is Heroes Day. So I only gathered you here today to tell you that you need to focus. You cannot serve God when you're poor. No. One thing that you need to know is that ministry itself needs finances. I know most of you know how much I put in ministry. The same has to be with you. Now, what will you put in if you are not earning enough? So I only brought you in to show you that stop wasting your blessings. That is one thing that really pains me. Many of you are wasting your blessings. Yeah. You are like Jacob, who worked for Laban for many years and he was earning nothing. You are like Joseph in Potiphar's house. The man says since when he entered his house, everything changed, but yet it does not change in favor of Joseph. No. It changes in favor of him. Yet he also knows that the blessing is not his. For how long shall we bless others when we are not growing? When we are not becoming? The kingdom needs finances. Every person with a kingdom mind knows that with finances, you are only steward. Yeah. God makes you a steward because finances are needed in ministry. They are needed in ministry. So the other day I was telling you that go back, write a vision. I'm still on that. And that is why I wanted to meet you physically then today. You know, let me give you the reason why this came in my mind. I was telling people on that day that one of my, they call them what? Niece? Niece, nephew, a boy. A nephew, yeah. You know, English is also another thing, niece, nephew. I don't know which is which. The bad thing, I grew up in the village. Everyone who was related to you was either a brother or an auntie or a sister. Now, the things of nephews, man, niece and what have you. Eri mukyalo buli gwolaba omugawo ono omwana omuganda wange ono mwanyinanze ono taata obuto ono senga ono mama muganda wa mama. It has few words. Okay. Kati ne mu Luganda mulimu kizibwe simanyi biki. Kizibwe wange kitegeeza ki? It's cousin, isn't it? Uncle, kyonna kyekiri nze naye sibimanyi mwa. Now, it is true. It is true. Teacher wa Luganda. Jose tugambe gwe teacher wa Luganda. Kati Lizi ayita ate Jona. Kiziwe, abirad. Kiziwewe. So what? Ananga. Ananga. Yeah. Olya tugambye anko kati mutebi chichi tugambe mu Luganda kitege jangu Chisibwe. I don't know. But I was trying to show you that I got challenged with a young man, and this young man was your age mate, and my heart told me that maybe some of the questions that he had could be questions with you even today. You know, we face certain challenges in church that some people have understood God in a certain way. Some people will even tell you that it's the poor that shall inherit heaven. Yeah, there is a way to interpret the Bible. Some people are not teaching the holistic understanding of the Bible. Some churches, we are not teaching finances, and yet the church needs finances. So this is a young man that came and asked me. He asked me a very huge question. He told me, "Uncle, tell me what really happened. I was born when my father was a pastor. I have grown up serving in church. I have done everything, but I see that there is nothing changing. Is there anything that we did to God that he cannot bless us?" I was like, hey. The question was so big. So I understood some of our young girls and boys, these are the questions that they're asking themselves. But the real question should be, what am I focusing at? What do I want to become? Because I can sit here and tell you that even our education system here, I don't want to go deep in it, but I'll tell you that our education system here cannot help us. We are trained to be servants, not to be bosses. I can tell you, 80% of the students that are on universities in Uganda are being trained to go and acquire a job somewhere. And whoever comes out there is looking for a job. But imagine how many universities are graduating how many numbers of young men and women. These are 10,000s of young girls and boys. Where is that employment? The other day somebody was telling me that graduates are fleeing to UAE to go and become maids. Our sons and daughters are suffering from the Arab country here. I cannot stop saying that. They are suffering. Some of them, when you talk to them, the first thing will be crying. And you are like, I don't know what exactly happened. I have had daughters that call me from UAE. But the first thing is they cry. I don't know whether they are harassed. I don't know whether they are even sexually abused. I can't tell. But the problem is, we are not job creators. We are job seekers. The next time we come here, I'll tell you how I started employing myself. The other day I was talking to Pastor Nathan here. I used to tell him, start the thing. I was on his neck. And of recent he starts it. And now he's telling me how he's benefiting in the thing. He has become self-employed. Many people were speaking, he's going to suffer, he's sleeping at church, what? And they don't know what he has become now. I'm telling you. So I love everyone who is at uni, who is past university, who is being employed and what have you, who is still pursuing certain things. It is okay. But I'm this person who will always encourage you to go and get understanding, get wisdom, get knowledge, and come and use that knowledge into something else. Whenever I'm talking to young men about career guidance, young men today don't know how to look for jobs. They are looking for jobs to survive. It isn't like that. Somebody should be employed in a place that he wants to get personal understanding about what is happening. I'm telling you. Because you want to become. And that which you want to become, you need to start practicing it. One day I was giving people career guidance and I told people, instead of you writing your CV and what have you, and even putting on how much you want to earn, tell people I'm coming to volunteer in your company. Yeah, apply as a volunteer. There are many people that are working in big companies today, and if they could be open to tell you, they started as volunteers without mentioning about salary and what have you. Whenever somebody sees the input you have in his business or her business, he will start now talking about the wages. But many of us here, before they even know what you can do, you're asking for that much. If somebody is asking, okay, I'm paying this for what? One is a young man. He has no experience over anything. That is why many people are being asked for experiences when they are going to look for jobs and what have you. If you don't want to be asked that question of your experience, go and volunteer in a company. Actually, last time I was talking to Jonathan. Jonathan, for how long were you on probation? Nine months. Yeah. He wouldn't completely understand how much are they giving him. No. He was just giving in the input. And when they saw that the young man can deliver, they asked him, how much can we give you? It is another easiest way of starting to work. This we speak in career guidance. Choosing courses when you're going at uni. Many people, many young boys and girls are just excited. Yeah, they're excited. Somebody is telling you, I'm going to become a pilot. Okay, how many airplanes do we have in Uganda? How many pilots are we producing? Pastor, I will go to America and become from there. You go there then and study from there because there are many airplanes there. And then you will know. Yeah. Why should you first study in Uganda and then you go to America? These are certain things that you need to understand. Today, I can hardly see young men and women that are going for agriculture. I can hardly see it. But there is too much money there. Actually, one day I am going to go with a few of you to visit my friend's farm in Luwero. He's rearing goats. But he told me every end of the year, he sells in the Arab world more than 400 goats. That is real money. He does not even sell it here. He sells it in the Arab countries at a very good price. And let me just ask you, just think about if somebody was only selling a goat at around 400 or even 300. What is 300 times 400? Somebody get a calculator there and show me. 16. 300 times 400. Go there and see. Each goat at 300,000 times 400 goats sold. This young man works in UCC and he was telling me he's quitting the job. Yeah, 120 something. Yeah. And he told me that goats give birth twice in a year. That means if you have a good brand, one goat can give you 5 goats in 1 year. Because some of them produce 2 and some even 3. And if they are cared for properly, those are about 5 goats. Now just imagine you started with the 20 goats. Actually, he gave me an advice that we should only buy the local goats, and then we crossbreed with the he goats that are of breed. And that is what he has done on his farm. And the more good whatevers are coming. So he can now sell a goat at around 400, 500. He has sold me for 2 years. He has sold goats to Arab countries. And he told me he's looking at quitting a job in UCC. Because let me ask you, if you are having a job that they are paying you 3M and you can cater for your farm and you are getting 120M, give me 3M times 12. What is that? What is 3M times? It's about 36 for a year. Now, vis-a-vis a person that is rearing goats that is going to get 120M, which one is better? So go and work for the 3M for about 5 years and start your own farm. Today, if you are going into farming and you have your 20M, yeah, you can get like 3 acres in the village there. In our place, an acre of land is at 7M now. And if you only got 300, I'm telling you, if you have 30M, you'll get like 4 acres. And 4 acres for goat rearing, you can put on around 200 goats. Which at the end of the year, if you have around 200 goats, at the end of the year, 1 year, you could be in around 500. I'm telling you, around 500 to 600. I'm just giving you an understanding of what one of my colleagues has just sat down and told me. And this he is in. Yeah, he's doing it. The other day I was seated with my brother-in-law. He has planted avocado. What are these avocados called? They are these new avocados that they brought. Is it macadamia? He has planted macadamia 41 acres. He has planted cocoa 80 acres. People are running into farming. And by the way, this is the time that when you get your 1M, you can go back to your village and start on an acre of land They tell you this acre is 4M and you are like, kwata akakadde kano. Linda ko oluvannyuma lw'emyezi 2 nkongera akalala. Ovaayo omugamba akalala ngenda kakusindikira ku wiiki ejja. Naye nga naawe okimanyi nti mu wiiki ejja tojja kukafuna. Kubanga era naawe oli kagaata bugaasi onoonya 2 n'ogaatako amalala. But at the end of the year, if you have focused on that, you could be having 2-3 acres of land. If you only focus on that. And that could be a good beginning. Nowhere is far when it comes to farming. Nowhere is far. Eric Nakasongola is not far. Yeah. Hospitalaria is not far for me. And I'm eyeing it seriously. I've started purchasing land. I just want to do God rearing. I feel it. You know, sometimes I'm looking at young men and women that are selling land in the village and coming to town and buy borders. It's not wise enough. It's not. It's not wise enough. The other day I was with Pastor Wasu and he was telling me in Kamengo today, how many of you know Kamengo Masaka Road? You can get an acre of land at around 16M. Do you know that somebody can be rearing something in Kamengo and he stays in Kampala? And he goes there every day. I have a friend, he stays in Budo and he's farming in Kamengo. He told me he bought about 4 acres together. So nowhere is too far. What you need to have is a vision. What do you want to become? Leave alone the vision of planting maize. Sumbanalima kasoli wange mukyalwe yo half acre. That is something for eating. Yeah, oyo kasoli bamulimira mbuzi kulya. Yeah. When you start rearing goats, you'll have to plant some acres of maize just to feed them, or cows. But I can tell you, people are earning. I have an aunt in the village. He has 2 Persian cows. Actually, last time they were telling me they have both given birth, and is now getting around 30 liters of milk every day. 30. The only problem is that milk in the village is so cheap. It is at 500. Yeah. It is at 500. But if that milk was at 1,000 per half liter, a liter is what? 2K. That means that person is capable of getting 60K or 120K every day within just 2 cows. I can tell you at your age today, when I look at all of you, if you were capable of saving 20 to 30,000 per day, within 3 to 4 years you'll be a rich man. I'm telling you. Capable of saving 20 to 30,000 per day. And you do it consistently. Within 4-5 years, you'll be a young rich man. You'll be able to do something great. I have a young man here in Seta. His wife is a graduate. You have ever seen him here? The wife supplies chapati and samosas to about 4 schools. And he tells me they earn 45,000 as profit daily when schools are working. 45 on a daily basis. Now, even if you had a family, you were capable of saving at least 25 daily. That is a lot of money. If you only work that for 5 years, you'll be able to do something tangible. So what am I saying? Start early. Be focused. Have a vision. Be consistent. One of the things as I'm winding up that I've seen in young men is not being consistent on one thing. Today they want to do something else. Tomorrow they are looking at something else. The other day they are also looking at the end of the year, a young man has worked for about 4 or 5 people and is doing different things. You cannot get there when you're like that. Because the only advice I could give you, that anything you're doing today, focus at being an expert in it, so that you can focus at it. You know, sometimes I find young men and I'm having a chat with them and I'm confused. Somebody tells you, njagala kubera, who are these people that provide services on functions? How are they called? Not MCs, those people with tents, chairs and what have you. They are called what? Event planners, isn't it? Somebody tells you, I want to become an event planner. And then before you know, he's in welding. And you're like, okay. How does welding? Okay, he wants to learn how to make tents for events. I don't know. But it doesn't really make sense. Oyagala kubeera mufumbi wa ku mikolo, kukwata mikolo gwafumba gwakola ki, naye olwaleero toyina wadde akawoteri mwoli. Which kind of expertise are you getting? Okola mu hoteri, bikwataganirawo ebyokwisiba enviiri n'okukola hoteri. This is what is happening to young men and women. So I'm only appealing to you today that if we are going to serve God with all our heart, with our finances, if we are going to become wealthy, we need to start focusing now. But focusing when you have a vision, when you know what you want to become, and also giving thyself ultimatums. You're like, let me see this 5 years. Let me see the following 3. In this, I want to become this. In this, I'm focusing on this. It will help you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot go beyond that. I'm seeing time running very fast. I just want to have 3 or 4 people compliment or else reflect. Come on. That is what I'm saying. Reflect, have a question, or compliment on what I'm speaking. If I get like 4 to 5 people, it will be, I'll call it a day and we'll be leaving this place. God bless you. I love you.